So I want to start this off by saying I'm in no way an expert on basically anything in the world, you know. I generally guess most of the time on stuff. This is just how net neutrality was explained to me from someone who works in like a big company, you know, a big internet company. And they spend millions of dollars a year building these tunnels, highways or whatever, or however you want to say it, basically for information to get from here to here, from wherever you need it, the server, to your computer. He was explaining to me, he was using Netflix as an example, so I'll use Netflix as an example. If someone watches Netflix all the time and they're using up all that space on the highway, shouldn't they be charged more than you who's just, you know, using Google or going to some like news websites or something? The person who's using all the space should get charged more. So it makes sense, but at the same time, you know, I understand that everyone wants everything to be free and cheap. If we get rid of net neutrality, they're going to be able to charge for it, which is what they want. They're going to charge Netflix, and Netflix will probably charge us, the consumer, or they're going to charge the consumer directly. No matter what, it's something that they see as an expense that they're doing for free or whatever. Internet companies compete with each other in such a way where people just want the cheapest internet possible. They're just looking for the cheapest internet possible to watch Netflix. That's basically it. And then when they're constantly fighting each other to lower the costs of internet, and the only thing that's happening is more and more people are watching Netflix and Hulu and stuff, and it's just taking up more and more of their bandwidth that they have, they're kind of struggling. They're like big old companies that really just can't afford it. It's like a toll road, basically. People build the roads, and if it's a private company, they're going to charge you to be on it. And right now, these private companies aren't really charging what they should for people to be going through the toll road. I'm not saying I'm for net neutrality going away, obviously. I'm just a consumer, so I want it to be as cheap as possible, and I want to get that as much as I possibly can out of it. If I'm looking out for my best interests, I want net neutrality, and I want it to stay because, like I just said, I want to get the most I possibly can for the cheapest I possibly can. These big companies are struggling, and it's hard to feel bad for them because they're so big, but it's still, you know, Joe Blow from down the street still works at this company. Your neighbor is being stressed out, and you know, because this huge company as a whole is just a stressful environment to work for. You know, he was explaining kind of the environment they're in right now, and it's super stressful, and they're really just cutting everything like as thin as they can, and they're not being productive because they need to hire like really cheap labor, and the cheap labor is just messing everything up, and then they need to redo it, and it's just a big downward spiral that's just a huge mess because we're kind of making it that way. So maybe it's not as bad as you think. That's just coming from a guy in a giant cat kennel, so I don't know. I just thought this was interesting, and this is interesting too. Look at this. Hello. All right, I'm gonna get back to work. Ugh. All right.
And now for something completely different.
Alright, ready? You got this, kid.